Have you ever wanted to trace a transaction through multiple microservices, but you don't have access to OpenTelemetry? You know that situation where you've got a bunch of services and maybe it passes the trace and span across, but it gets lost somewhere in some library in some system. I'm going to show you a technique that doesn't sound like OpenTelemetry for actually following that trace using something called full text search in a free tool called proxymock. So let me get started real quick showing what I mean by pulling down a demo app called User Journey. Okay, now this demo app contains a bunch of different microservices that I'm going to record using my local proxymock setup. Now, for those of you that don't know what proxymock is, it is essentially a free CLI tool that you download that allows you to record using a proxy relay service like MITM proxy. Now, this also works in Kubernetes clusters, so you can actually do this in remote environments too, but I'm going to do it real easy because it's starting on my local desktop and just show you how this works. So I just downloaded a demo app that is going to run a set of microservices, and I'm going to do a quick recording of those microservices. So this is going to start the proxymock CLI, and it's going to do a bunch of recordings in a fashion where it's like showing the multi-hop across them. Now, this app does not have OpenTelemetry, but we're going to go and trace the span, or trace the trace anyway. And we're going to do it by knowing the username. So instead of having to go through and piece it together in an observability tool, we're just going to find the user, figure out what happened to them, and go and visualize it. So as I said, it's completed running now. It's running our demo app, and then it just ran a capture recording. It did a bunch of work in this, and it ran a bunch of users through here, which, of course, are contrived because this is a demo app. But this is what it looks like in Kubernetes or elsewhere. Now, I'm going to run a tool called proxymock web. And proxymock web is going to start a UI from my CLI that will show me all of the recordings. Now, if you are familiar with something like Postman, this is going to look very common or very similar to that. All it is a recording that we just did called User Journey, and it is all the different gateways and services that were being run here. So these are all individual requests and responses in API. Now, this also works with databases, gRPC, various binary protocols, but they get decoded into these JSON RR pairs or Markdown RR pairs. Now, I can go through and I can actually see all the different information that makes these things up. There's actually a trace parent, but it does get lost as we go through here. And I'm going to go now and show how I can just run a quick search and filter down to one customer. So I'm a big computer science nerd, so I'm going to run a full text search for Ada Lovelace at example.com. This is one of my demonstration users. Now, even though I don't actually have that particular username tied to a particular trace parent, what I've done is I've searched across all of the different fields that make up the API call. So that could be the HTTP headers, it could be the request bodies, it could be the response bodies, and I'm going to go and see each one of them. And so what I have here is the complete set of interactions, both going into my services and out of my services, so that I can trace all the hops. Now, I have a quick way to visualize this now that I've set my filter to just Ada Lovelace, right? I can go here and I hit trace, and I can actually get a waterfall view showing the hops that were made to service that particular transaction. So you can go through and see all of this. Now, I can do all kinds of interesting things with this information, such as I can go and I can do a replay. I can turn this into a load test, a regression test for my CI pipeline. I can capture a particular problematic transaction from production and then go move it back into QA. All of that stuff is open, and you can learn how to do this yourself by looking at the link below. I just followed along with a little blog, or installing the proxymock tool yourself. Hopefully this is helpful.